Welcome everybody to this session 1, stage 3 panel to celebrate International Women's Day. Today we'll talk about what's happening when women are going international, the amazing things women are doing in the tech and AI sector. And the aim of this panel is to present you the amazing work some women are doing and to try to change the narrative about international opportunities in tech and AI for women. I'm very proud to introduce you some amazing women here today that are here with us. And one of them is Denise G from Findexable. Denise is the co-founder and managing director of Findexable, which is a data analytics startup that has launched the Global FinTech Index, which is a real-time platform that provides an unbiased view of the FinTech ecosystem worldwide. She's also the founder and managing director of specialist communication consultancy and research house, Magna Carta, advising fintech firms and incumbent payment service providers on successfully positioning themselves and the value they add to the sector. Denise previously held executive position at Visa MVP and is a non-executive director of Bird CMC and Fintech Mundi. The other speaker today with us is Patricia Gestoso, which is a scientific service leader and a diversity, inclusion, and ethics tech evangelist. In her role and through her career as global head of scientific support, training, and services at the Soul System, Patricia has worked with the Fortune 500 life science and materials companies worldwide to build, deliver, and maintain science-based virtual solutions. She has spearheaded numerous diversity and inclusion initiatives in tech, and she's the winner of the 2020 Women in Tech Changemakers Award. Patricia advises companies, NGOs, and governmental organizations on the topics of technology, science, diversity and inclusion, data analytics, acquisition integrations, and customer success. She believes that the ethical and inclusive technology is an enabler for regenerative innovation and world-class customer experiences. She uses storytelling, data, visualization, co-creation, and digital application to drive systemic change in workplaces, products, and services. The other speaker for today is Ivana Bartoletti, the Technical Director Privacy at Deloitte, and she's also the founder of the influential Women Leading in AI network, so after expert commentator and top conference speaker. Ivana appears frequently in the UK and European broadcast and print media, cutting through complexity to make the key issues clear to the citizens. Ivana's interview about a book is out, and her new book is called An Artificial Revolution on Power, Politics, and AI is out, so you can look for it. And she's also a visiting policy fellow at the University of Oxford. And Ivana in 2019 was also named Women of the Year in the Cybersecurity Award in recognition of a growing reputation as an advocate for equality, privacy, and ethics at the heart and tech and AI. Myself, I'm Giulia Sirigu. I'm one of the senior internationalization and innovation advisors at Innovate UK at Inventia. I provide support to companies doing innovation, and I'm passionate about diversity, inclusion, and equality, providing a boost to those women doing innovation and they want to have access to the international environment. So saying so, I pass the word to the first speaker for today, which is Patricia Gestoso. Patricia, the screen is all yours.
Thank you very much, Julia.
I stop sharing so you can start sharing.
Okay. Let me check, with you. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so as Julia said, I have overall 20 years of experience working in software companies, and I've spearhead several initiatives to further diversity and inclusion in tech, especially for women. My main focus has been to actually reduce the attrition of women in tech. About 40% of women that start in tech leave the sector. So as you can imagine, when a year ago, I began to read about how workplace companies, societies, and governments have failed women during the outbreaks of Ebola, SARS, and Zika. I got very worried that we will lose all the progress that we have done so far in tech. What is more, I was concerned about the easy answer from a lot of tech companies that was, oh, we are now giving the possibility to work from home and flexibility. This is the magic bullet. Everything is solved now. So I joined to explore that more in detail. I launched a survey with the Professional Women Network. We actually surveyed professional women in the UK, Europe, and US about their amount of their unpaid work. So the scoop here is that the tech is not different. Women working in tech also perform a lot of unpaid work due to COVID. And what I will show here is actually key insights for all the sectors of the survey. But again, tech is not different. So the first thing we asked women was actually to ask them how much effort they were putting in 2019 towards unpaid work. And what it came is that if we add caregiving and chores, they actually work about 1 week, a work week a month for free towards those tasks. And we run the survey in April, May 2020, and wow, that had jumped to 92 hours, okay, which is more than 2 weeks. So overall, in a year, women last year worked about almost 7 months for free in unpaid work. We took a very conservative approach and put some money into how much those hours meant. And we came with about a little bit more of £5,000 a year in terms of unpaid work for 2019, and for 2020, almost £12,000. I know some of you now are saying, oh, you know, those numbers are not real, are just too much. I have news for you. Actually, in 2016, the Office of National Statistics in the UK calculated that the unpaid work in UK is about £1.24 trillion, which comes around £19,000 per person. So again, this is very conservative. The other thing that we were keen to explore actually is the division, of course, of work, because we said, you know, those are professional women, it should be pretty egalitarian. Again, we got it wrong. Actually, what women told us, with the exception of Norway, the majority of women said we wore the brunt of the housework during the pandemic. Also, only less than 20% of respondents said that their partners had borne the brunt of the housework. So no matter if you are in tech, you are a professional woman, that still are women the ones that do unpaid work. And of course, if we add more hours to the day, and we don't have an equal division of work, something has to give. And what gives, among other things, sleep and leisure time. So we ask women how they compare their leisure time in 2020 compared to 2019. And then, again, more than about 50% of women said they experienced less leisure time. But what is specifically very concerning is that when we look at the data by age, actually we realize that women that actually are now between 36 and 50, which we will say they are the ones that are going to be the next VPs, the next CEOs, or they are actually in leadership positions, they are telling us that actually that reduction in leisure time is up to 60%. And again, we are here talking about averages. So this is very concerning because we can see women dropping, there is just so much you can live in this status. So we see them actually leaving those leadership positions and going part-time or even quit the workforce. The other very important point is that we, again, talk always about average because average are easy, but women are 3.7 billion on Earth. So I wanted to really check how much average is representative of women. So again, in our pool, we had 1,300 women. We asked those with caregiving responsibilities to tell us how much time, how many hours they were dedicating to caregiving. And as you see here, actually, you see that we have here that actually the average hours are 16.2 during the 2020, but actually we have 30% of women that report more than 16 hours. So basically, if we solve the issue of unpaid work for only the average, we are leaving out 30% of the population. And look here, we had 15% of women reporting more than 40 hours a week only in caregiving in 2020. So what I'm concerned about, again, is that we still keep talking about flexibility like that was elasticity. Not because women can work, and start earlier or finish their work late at night means that they have more than 24 hours. So that is, we are not having that conversation about how much can be done in 24 hours. The other concerning area for me in tech is since 2021 started, everybody talks about hybrid working in tech like that. Again, is going to fix everything. People will work at home 3 days a week and then will go 2 days a week to the office to collaborate. Yes, but I do see, again, women with caregiving responsibilities staying more at home. They won't be there, they won't have access to those key conversations in the office where they will decide who is going to have that plum project that will actually get them the promotion. So it's going to be look very flexible and nice in the outside, but I don't see the system really working to promote women in tech. So finally, and I'm sure that my co-panelists will talk about it, is that if women and minorities leave tech, then who is left to actually code and create the technology of the future? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Very interesting data that we listened to today. Now I'm very happy to give the screen actually to Ivana and to discuss with us some key topics she's an expert at. So how women in AI, what women in AI actually are doing, and how AI can contribute to shaping more equal power relations. Ivana, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for inviting me, Julian, for putting this panel together on this very important day. And so the first thing that I want to say is, first of all, let's take a moment on International Women's Day to celebrate how far we've come as women over the years and decades and centuries. And it's really important we do so because ultimately International Women's Day is a day of celebration. And it's a celebration that is really, really important, especially at this time with a pandemic and at a time where, going on the less positive note, it seems, and I think a lot of people feel it, a lot of women, that we are going backwards and very, very quickly. half of the women in the UK, I was just reading about it this morning, feel that the pandemic is really about to undo a lot of this progress that ought to be celebrated. And I think this is because of many of the things that Patricia was just talking about, and the fact that women have been at the sharp end of this pandemic, having to juggle even more and of caring responsibilities, education, and homeschooling with the usual work and commitment to their job place. The fantastic innovation that technology is bringing to us, there is so much positive in it. And I think we've all seen how great it's been during this pandemic to hope and put our hope in a vaccine and in scientific development. And we've also seen how nice it is to be all connected, to be able to WhatsApp family and friends abroad, WhatsApp people, and feel that we're not isolated, although we have to be physical distant from others. But at the same time, I don't feel as much of this technology has been designed by and designed for women. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I just want us for a moment on International Women's Day to answer this question. Do you feel that the fact that we can do so much with technology, with AI-driven products, with smart products, do you feel that your life has been made easier? If we can order our shopping on our phones, or the fact that we can have smart products at home, and the fact that we can do so many things remotely and using technology, does it feel that life has become easier? Or does it feel that we have to be even more Wonder Woman than we used to be before? That the quest for perfection, for doing things faster and doing things better, it's actually not been and doesn't feel to me much of a liberation. And this is not because we have to be anti-tech, not in the slightest, but because that tech has not been designed by us. And I think this is the main problem that I want to focus on International Women's Day. We've got to change the narrative about technology, artificial intelligence, data being such a neutral thing that is there to improve our life. It's not. It can and it should, but it's not at the moment. Because there's nothing neutral about technology, nothing neutral at all. Technology has been developed by those in power. Data, which we use to ingest and to feed these machines with, is not neutral at all. Data is the mirror of society. It represents millenniums, centuries, and decades of social inequalities. Data is a picture of society. And if you take that data and you feed the machines with it, we're not going to get equality, are we? We're just going to get, automated inequality, and also automated chauvinism is just going to happen through our machines. The reason why I'm saying this is because the relationship between women and technology has never been an easy one. If I think about the past, if I think about the movements in the 60s and in the 70s that through my mums have shaped so much of my thinking and my life, although as a 40-year-old now, I spent a lot of my 20s trying to get as far as possible for them to then find them again when I was 30 and 40 and had my kids. Then what happened is that if you look back at that time, I feel that the relationship between women and tech that really showed the dark side, and a lot of women were really focusing on that relationship as a means and manipulation over bodies, over the future, over their relationship between women and technology cannot, needs to be treated seriously. And the reason why it has to be treated seriously is because I don't feel that women had so much of a say over technological development. And to me, that is the key problem, the key issue that we're facing. And on International Women's Day, it's easy to say, yes, I want to see more women in tech. Of course, I want to see more women in technology. Of course, the fact that only 20% of people working in artificial intelligence, in this enormously transformational technology, that it reshapes a lot of society as it is now. Only 20% of the workforce is female. that is hugely problematic, because as we said, there's nothing neutral about technology, because technology is a technological product. They're actually social product, political product. They've got affordances, and they can reshape a lot of the way that we work and a lot of the way we live in our world, especially when they are fed with the data that are the product of society. And when we think about this data, you know, there's nothing neutral about data, because every single decision on whether to elevate somebody and put them into a database is a political choice. It's a choice of saying you are part of it and you are not. And the reason underpinning it is never neutral. Think of medicine, the fact that a lot about women's condition we didn't know about. Endometriosis, we were just talking about it. Strokes. It was all about men's data collected, and we only knew about men's strokes. And even now, 2021, when you go to the doctor and you're a woman, you're more likely to be told that the reason why you're going to the doctor is because you've got a psychological crisis or because it's stress. For men, it's not like that. There must be a reason. Do and go blood test. Let's do investigations. And this has repercussions on the data that is collected, and the data then is fed into these machines. So technology is not neutral. And to believe and hope that technology is going to solve our problems, it's not right. Technology is going to solve our problems when we get more women into tech, but also when we get more women into power, deciding what we're going to use technology for. And it's not just a matter of numbers in tech. I want to really stress this over and over again, because a lot of people say, oh yes, the coding room, we need more women in the coding room. Yes, fair enough, of course we do, but it's not going to solve the problem. We are at crossroads, and we need to decide what we're going to use technology for. If we are going to use it for the common good, for society, to improve the world, or whether we're going to use it just to please some futurist, often male, often Silicon Valley based. So the key thing here is I want to on International Women's Day, at the time where technology is running fast and it's really showing that it's important and we need it, and never, as in this pandemic, we've realized how important technology is. It will be probably thanks to tests and COVID tests and vaccinations and immunity passports that we will travel again, that we will go back to normality. Nobody can deny that tech and innovation are the most important thing right now. But because of this, then we need to really make sure that the future of tech is shaped by everybody, and especially women, because we've been out of it for too long. So this is really, really important. I run an organization which is called Women Leading in AI. And the reason why we call the Women Leading in AI is because AI is not just about a technological product. AI is about power. And when it comes to power, women know all about it, because we know what it's like to be cut out of it. And we know that when it comes to AI, it's really about the forces shaping the future of today and tomorrow, and how important it is for us to be at every single level where the decisions are made around the deployment of this technology. The labor market is going to change. You know, what I find really funny is that for a long, long time, we've been fighting to access the workplace and then to progress into the workplace. And now we're told that we're redundant because robots are going to take over. It's the narrative that is wrong, because robots are not going to take over. Robots can help us doing things much better, much faster. But this has to work for us as women. This is why I really say to everybody, you don't have to be in tech, but do get involved in the debate around the future of AI. And this is what women are trying to do. If you look at the debate around the ethics of artificial intelligence, it's mostly women of color driving that discussion. If you look at the debate around how we're going to govern AI in its future, it's mostly women in that discussion. And it's really important that we do more and more, that we occupy all the places where the decisions are made around the future of artificial intelligence. That would be my biggest thought on International Women's Day. There's nothing neutral about the way that we use technology. And I really hope that women from any color, every background, we can really work together to ensure technology works for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivana. Very, very inspiring speech, actually. And a lot of topics are very, very important in everyday life. Even if we think that we are not working in tech, we are not tech specialists, they are affecting and influencing what we do during everyday activities. So now I pass the word to Denise G from Findexable. Denise, the screen is yours. And Denise will be talking about what she did in terms of women in fintech. And the Findexable also worked on the fintech diversity radar. And I'm very, very interested in knowing more about that.
Thank you, Julia. It's really a privilege to celebrate the stage today with these incredible women, Patricia and Ivana, and a happy Women's Day for everybody in the room. So there's never been a more important time, I believe, to address opportunities for women. With a pandemic threatening to reverse hard-won gains. And we've seen what Patricia put forward to us. And you know, this is no new thing. Every single crisis brings the same dilemma. And women are always, you know, at the worst end of it. And but I think digitization and the work from home culture that we've seen, although no silver bullet, as Patricia said, should give us a great sense of optimism. And but it is technology and data that is fundamental in shaping the future. And again, I agree with Ivana. You know, there's automated inequality, so we need to look at very, very carefully. I've been in fintech for 20 years and I've seen a lot of data. If it's not hidden behind very expensive walls, it's certainly not neutral. And you can't compare like with like, for example. So that is why in July last year, Findexable launched a proprietary database, a digital platform to help fintech firms improve their visibility and make it easier for investors and institutions to find them wherever they are in the world. You know, in every corner of the world, there are incredible innovations, but they're not found. They're just not out there. So you stick to the traditional. Oh my goodness, I can't move the screen. Ah, there we go. So this is our platform. And as I said, it improves visibility and it makes it easy for investors to find, because if you don't see them, who's going to put money in them? And I'm talking here about everybody. So if you are in Rwanda, who's going to be, you know, you can have the most amazing technology, and if you're not visible, you won't get very far on the international stage. So why is this important also for us and relevant when today we're really talking about women, aren't we? We've learned a few things through our through the platform and through the data sets that we've built. And we are continuing to refine these data sets and the technology, obviously, as well, and also to look at the neutrality and the real-time element of the data, because what we have found as researchers is, you know, you can look at it today, but it changes very quickly. But the research today is you can put out a research paper and in 3 months it's aging. So the real-time element is very important. So with the platform, we also want to look at the ecosystem. And at the moment, we look at 270 cities across 85 countries for the platform, but we want to look at the fintech world through different lenses. Why does fintech matter? Fintech matters because it can make a difference to society and it can change economy. And we have seen the amazing things fintech has already done, but again, it's not equal. So that's why I want to talk about women and diversity in fintech, because that matters. It matters who is reached. It matters who the products are designed for and designed by. So we're building the first data set starting with women in fintech to understand the impact and their contribution to the digital economy. And that project we started in September. So what we really want to do is to reset the clock for even recovery after COVID. So, and first of all, we need to find out how and where are women employed, where are the most successful regions when it comes to diversity. And I think those regions might well be in the underdeveloped markets. And then identify practical actions, to improve this, and look at the cause and effect of serving female customers. Female customers, after all, does 80% of the spending in families. So they are an incredibly important part of the economy. And then we want to build a roadmap to enhance female employees and female entrepreneurship. So where are we at the moment? Our progress, we've established a truly global movement. We started in September, as I said, with launch partners, including these on the screen. And particularly the Financial Alliance for Women, the Center for Financial Inclusion, FinTech for Good, you can see all the others, and also a couple of universities in there, because we want to do it properly and get the data right. And other partners who have joined in the meantime include NGOs, accelerators, fintechs, women's organizations, large banks, and we've also got champions, male and female, and role models that are helping us. And together in this whole thing, I did a quick sum of how many people we are reaching within our network of partners is about 1.1 million already. So there's interest, there's enormous interest, and people are really wanting to change the world for women. So where are the barriers? I think, Patricia has certainly put forward the barriers very, very neatly for us. And we don't have the barriers for fintech, unfortunately, but we can look at corporates and where the corporates are at the moment. So think about it, 10 companies globally has achieved gender balance at all levels. 10. And 15 only have closed their gender pay gap. So there we again come. What do women do? They do the caring and they do the unpaid work. And companies cannot be bothered to disclose their pay. And then let's look at sectors. Financial sector, 24 companies are in the top 100. None of them are in the UK. Interestingly enough, you know, you will find in the financial sector, they used to be a lot less friendly towards flexible working and so on. But nowadays, hopefully with COVID, that will change, seeing that work from home is taking off in a big time. So hopefully that is a positive change. Banks, there are progressive banks. I think DNB, again, the Nordics are you know, trailblazers in this area. So DNB in Norway is #1. So that is good news for the financial sector. And you can see financial companies moving. Progressive banks also in Australia and the USA. Let's look at the technology sector then. And this is the sector that scores the lowest on the diversity stakes. 4 in the top 100 companies globally are from the technology sector. And you will be shocked if you see the companies on that list. So this is, and I forgot to say this, but this is information very recently disclosed by Equileap. And I would really suggest you look at that report very closely. And then 19% of these companies in technology publish gender segregated pay information, which is nothing. And I think we all know that it is a pretty sexist culture currently. And when it comes to furlough, technology companies have been found to be quite dominant in that area, furloughing women as opposed to men. Now let's look at the fintech sector. There's no data. There's absolutely no data. What we do have, or comparable data, what we do have, and this has been in several reports, is that in the UK, for example, 17% of fintech companies have female founders, and women account for less than 30% of the overall workforce. Women also receive just 3% of VC funding, and I think when it comes to Black female founders, they receive less than 1% of the funding in fintech. So this is something that we need to look at, and that's why the fintech diversity radar has been started, so that we can start looking at the whole ecosystem. Let's get a benchmark. What is happening there, so that we can improve? Because if you don't, what gets measured can be done. Now, why should people worry about hiring women? It just makes economic sense. And I'm going to just, you know, there's loads and loads of statistics in this area. But, oh my goodness, and I can't see let me just open up. So let's just start with high level. Let's look at countries and how the countries and the impact that women had on during COVID. You know, we look at women leaders in New Zealand, Norway, Finland, Iceland, Denmark, again, the Nordic countries, where they have reduced, you know, the pandemic, where they got the people back to work quicker, economic recovery quicker, and social well-being as a result of that much quicker. So, you know, when it comes to the big stuff, women take the lead and are pretty effective. Women who run private tech firms have a 35% higher return on investment. And women-founded companies in the first round capitals portfolio outperformed male founder companies by 63%. And you can see, you know, businesses founded by women delivered twice as much revenue as those by men. So the case is well made. So I think we see here that diversity or a diverse business is a successful business. I cannot understand that if you are in fintech or in tech, why you wouldn't fall over yourself to get women on your team. And I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denise. Thank you very much also for sharing the work you are doing with the FinTech diversity, rather, and for sharing with us so many information. So what I will like to do now is literally to give you a bit of information about what I do and why I think it's very important for all women, for all of us, for the society, not just for women, to have more women in tech, more women doing working on AI, and more women doing innovation. Because at the end of the game, when we are talking about women, we are talking about diversity. And when we are talking about diversity, we cannot just consider one set of women. And this is very important to consider women from different backgrounds, especially when we are talking about innovation, because, well, this is very clear. We cannot have innovation if you are not approaching what we already having from a different perspective. And how can we have different perspectives? Being different, showing a higher level of diversity within the board, show a higher diversity within the companies, but also showing higher diversity among the leaders. And this is particularly important. This is literally a call that I'm just putting out now, is put yourself in leadership positions and ask other women, other people, other innovators to support you. Because as Ivana was mentioning before, it's a matter of power. It's a matter who is taking the decision, who is able to change what we are living now. And when we are talking about innovation, we don't have just to think, oh, I don't have a STEM background, I cannot do that. Because innovation, because technology is not just about being able to do something. Women, most of the time, are doers. Women are always doing much more than sometimes they should do, much more than sometimes they have the time to do, and much more of what they are supposed to do also in the jobs. Before I saw a question in the chat asking, do we have numbers of our women volunteer their time in business compared to men? Women volunteer much more. I don't have numbers in this moment, but I recall a paper that was mentioning this, and I don't know, Patricia, if you're having numbers on this, but it would be good to know actually. It's very important to be in power positions because, well, take into account that, just for instance, the IMF showed that countries could enhance the economic growth by more or less 35% just by closing the gender gap in employment. So having more women, more diversity in tech, in innovation, is not just a matter of improving women's condition. That's very important for improving women's condition, but it's also to improve society condition, which is extremely important. In order to change women's role, giving them more roles and responsibilities, providing them the necessary support, and giving them the opportunity to show what they want to do what they want to do, is important to change the background that we are having now, to change the mentality, starting from girls, but also from boys. Because, well, if we don't teach boys to be used to see women in powerful position, in power position, in technical position, in innovative positions, we won't change this. And this is particularly important, especially because when women are allowed to do better, the economy does better, and no country, when we are thinking at the international level, can develop if half of the population is not engaged in productivity and development. And this is, again, and I'm insisting in this because it is particularly important that we consider that companies are performing better if their board are diverse, if there are more women on board, and if women and diverse people with respect to the white, male, middle-aged, typical traditional boards that we are seeing now in tech, if we are providing this level of diversity. Why? Because these workers, these professionals will enable technology to approach things from a different point of view, to consider more inclusive designs, to include the perspective that what we are considering now probably is missing some of the needs, some of the exigencies that are present within the society. So if we are not involving those people in the creation of technology, in the management of technology, in the decisions that are taken behind the use of technology, it's very, very difficult to have a change that can last in time. And here I would like just to underline this, because it is very important for people to know that they are supported, and women in innovation, women in technology are supported, can be supported more. But again, please reach out, please ask for help. Women generally tend to overperform. Women tend to be perfectionists, but ask for help. Ask for help because everything will be easier, everything will be less stressful, and everything will be more easier, literally easier for you. Well, there are many programs. For instance, just thinking about my role at Innovate UKH, and I work with companies doing innovation, but very few of them are women-led. And in my personal mission is to enroll as many women I can, because if not, those women will difficultly achieve what the dreams, what they want to do. So one person before was mentioned in this chat, which are the stats about women employees or professionals that are achieving the dreams. It's important having a dream. It's important having a goal. And if it's so difficult to reach this goal that sometimes we tend to give up, because we're having many more responsibilities than the rest of our colleagues. Well, in that case, in that moment, you need to ask for help. At the international level, there are amazing women doing tech, doing innovation, but still there are few of them. So I want this type of session to be useless in a couple of years. I want to have International Women's Day like a nice celebration, but not something that is needed, because we can work together. And again, collectively, I think it is very important to tackle these type of issues, because at the end of the game, if we are always struggling, trying to fight against something that is very big, this becomes, well, where is our quality of life? Where is our time to spend with families? Where are our hours of sleep, as Patricia was mentioning before? So please ask for help. There is support that generally innovate. Well, again, also this part, innovation. So there is support for innovation. There is support for businesses, but sometimes people, they don't think they're doing innovation. They don't think they're doing innovation because they think that innovation is just technical. Innovation is not just technical. Innovation is about seeing things from a different point of view. And women are great problem solvers. Women are great critical people, because they need, because of survival, literally, they need to challenge many things. They need to take into account many things. They need to work with many things at the same time. And if I was, well, I'm not an employer, but if I was an employer, I will give many more chances to women, to mothers, because they need to juggle with so many things at the same time. That they're reassuring, because they mean that they are able to do it. And I will be very happy to support them, because I know that that person, if supported, is an extremely a remarkable professional. We just need to give them that, and us ourselves the time to and the possibility to do with, and to fulfill our dreams. And this is very important. I'll again, I'll be more than happy to signpost opportunities, to signpost supporting programs, among them the Innovate UK supporting program for internationalization, but not only. Let's pull out which are the opportunities for women. So, and saying so, I would love to hear from our speakers, which are for them the opportunities that women can now make the most of in order to narrow the gender pay gap. So what has been done and what still has to be done in order to narrow the gender gap? So do you think there are any opportunities, what we should be working on? So whoever wants to start, Patricia?
I can start shortly. Pick on you know, I think you have done a great summary that women, we are always over prepared. I'm hiring for a position and I reach out to a woman. She has a master and she told me, oh, you know, I'll be interested, but I need first to go and do a PhD. And I think in tech, I've heard a lot of women saying, oh, first, we assume that we need to code, that tech is only about coding. And you know, women telling me, oh, let me stop. I want to get in tech, but first let me go and get a degree on. Okay, so I think we need to jump before we are ready. Okay, like men do. I think as well, we need to understand when you already have experience, you can bring that experience to tech. Last week, I was talking with the global head of fraud at a large antivirus software company, and her background is languages. She doesn't have any coding experience. And she told me, actually, what I'm bringing to the table is when you talk about fraud, you need people that think differently. So if you do marketing, if you do finances, anything that is not tech, bring it with you. You already have more than what you need to start. And what I want, if we go to corporate, what I see progress trying to attract women in tech. Now, when I started this journey about diversity and inclusion 5 years ago, people, and I'll talk about diversity, people will tell me, is this something coming from the States? Now it's here to stay. But, and also we see more executive and board teams with women, albeit mostly white women. However, we need to tackle the middle. The managers, I'm a manager myself, and at the end, our managers who hire somebody, are managers who give those key projects and are managers who promote. So we need to have more transparency. And as you said, Julia, I encourage to have discussions with your managers. If you work in corporate, tell me what is my career path, how that looks like. Okay, back to you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Ivana, Denise, one of you, do you want to say something about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I was really I really agree with Patricia, what Patricia was saying around women coming from all different backgrounds to the tech industry. That's really, really interesting. I think companies are doing a lot more in relation to that, which is really good. So I see companies coming to tech from all sorts of backgrounds. And I think this is really important, especially when it comes to AI, because as we said earlier, you know, AI is much more than it's much more than an AI product is a sort of it's not just technical artifact, it's a social political one. So in technology, especially in AI, we really need people from every background, and especially women coming from philosophy, coming from all sorts of technological background to make it work for everybody. So I'm a big fan of these initiatives that bring women a different stage of life into technology, bringing a completely different set of sort of perspectives, and that's really, really good. I also think that there is the sort of mentoring and role models are absolutely important, and I think especially in schools and young people. I mean, unfortunately, that divide starts very early on, you know, and we've got to get to the bottom of this. You know, it's something that is 2021, and I have a small young daughter, and I can see that gap starts at that age, that segregation, and the way there's something with the language, the way the girls are taught to behave, and that is really, really worrying. And I just don't have the knowledge to understand how we can address this. You know, how can we address this? But of course, we can't wait until we train the 4-year-old today. So there are things that we need to do now immediately in order then for that to cascade to the younger generation. But how do we challenge that in an education system is absolutely important. And I also wonder, you know, things even in just to close, going back into technology, how is a younger generation of women growing up with these tools such as Alexa or Siri, when you have, you know, all these tools, they have female voices and they all have female names. And I do wonder sometimes, how is a young boy of 5 growing up knowing that it's normal to tell a female sounding tool to do something for him? What is the impact that this is going to have on future generations? You know, we've got to ask ourselves these questions. And that's another reason why we need more women to design these tools, because, you know, it's really strange that 2021, all these tools, they have very evocative female names and female voices, and they're there to serve and never to challenge. And I do wonder what is the impact that it's going to have later down the line.
Yes, absolutely true. And this is scary, actually. Denise?
I think there's a wonderful opportunity now. The world is entering a time where the world is really judging companies on not only on growth, but also on values. And I think people are starting to realize that, you know, and measurable impact. So why is a company there if it's not there to do some good? And then I think employers just need to be more open-minded, you know, learn from your peers. If you don't have women, look at those companies that are doing extremely well, who have women, and what are they able to achieve? Learn from peers. Guys, we can't do this on our own. We've got to collaborate. This is something that we can really do together. And then one thing I find fascinating, and I think worked extremely well, especially with the appointment of Kamala Harris as Vice President, sponsorship, sponsor women. You know, the Harvard Business Review says that all the sponsors of white male proteges in the US are 3/4 white male. So let us sponsor women, let us sponsor Black women like Biden did. And I think we can get very far. And again, I want to emphasize, we need the data. We need to know where we are, because if we don't know where we are, we don't know where we're going, and we can't then measure results. I'm hoping that by next year, if we get to Women's Day again next year, that we can show progress. This is what FinTech looks like. And gosh, this is what has been achieved in the past year. And if you can't measure it, you can't do it. So we've got a survey going out to FinTechs across the globe today. Please look out for it on our website. And thank you again, Julia, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Denise. I'm posting here an opportunity for everybody, not just for women, in innovation and in business. And I've posted also my email address there. Please feel free to do the same. I'm mentioning this to the other speakers, but also to the people that are attending this session. Please spread the word about opportunities. Invite people to contribute, to provide their vision, to email us, email me. I've said it in my email there. Please email me if you think that something is going wrong and something is not considered. And let's try to do together, to join forces, to understand what is missing, why is missing, who can do that. Do you know a person that is working with an app, within tech, in AI, that is able to consider this perspective? And try to take, what we should try to do is to take a proactive approach, because nobody will be doing that for us. So just let's do it. So what I always say is, if we need any type of change, we just need to change it. So let's embrace change and let's do it, literally. So feel free to join our the other event on inclusive international innovation later this week on the 11th and 12th of March. Feel free to mail me, feel free to connect. More than happy to support women in tech, in AI, in innovation, and to provide you opportunities, to help you. All the support we provide with Innovate UK Edge is fully funded. So try to make the most of the funds available, and feel free to get in contact. I suppose I can say the same thing for the other speakers. So thank you very much for joining us and during today's panel. And thank you very, very much to the speakers for sharing their experiences. This is amazing data, such good inspiration for all of us. And hope to see you next year and to try to work on the progress that we are making this year. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you all.